Hello.
Anyways, I forgot we were kind of on a weird cliffhanger.
I unfortunately
Been like
remember.
2 or 3 weeks.
I unfortunately remember. It's been 2 weeks. It will work out fine if we make her guilty. That was this guy's. It was like, it'll all work out fine if we make her guilty. That's what it was.
It's kind of like, I feel like you're doing kind of like a Heath Ledger Joker, I just realized.
Kind of. Who would desire such a resolution? Hard to say. Maybe the PIC, and also maybe me, you know? When I heard your words just now, I could barely hold back my tears, you know? It was just so splendid, you see, and it burns me up inside. I'm not the most perfect piece of work, you know, so I can't forgive your such youthfulness. You say the truth is important. Well, you know, once you know the real value the truth holds, I wonder if you can still say the same thing. What are you trying to say? When you get to where I am, you can just create your own truths, anytime you want. Kay Faraday's the culprit. Now was the truth I simply manufactured out of thin air. Good, very good, that face, that expression. You were such a desperate one, you see. That's why I really wanted to bully you, you know. You see, even if you know the truth, there's simply nothing you can do. And that's the real value of the truth. So shocking that's to die for, you know. Why won't you pursue the truth, culprit? Why don't you pursue the true culprit? How much of the truth do you know? Do you understand now? The truth that you believe in is worthless, you see. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Powerless, former prosecutor. You. Oh, scary, scary. You know, I guess the friend of a heinous criminal are also quite heinous themselves. Blaze you! And like this, you see, one more person will disappear before me. Ah, here come the waterworks. These tears of mine just won't stop, you know. He's just comically evil.
Yes.
Everything will be decided in today's deliberation. Kay's innocent. I will definitely prove it. Is there going to be a trial of sorts?
I guess something like that's happening. I didn't realize that this chance actually existed. Look at him up there fucking doing the, I had to do it to him pose. I mean, you can't see it anymore, but...
10 members are present. I did see it, though. The quorum has been met. From here on out, let the council begin. Today's deliberation shall be about Miles Edgeworth's aptitude and ability as a prosecutor.
Oh, what? I thought that just got fast-tracked, but I guess it didn't.
No, well, shh. Also, you'll notice that today I'm riding in my red blazer, worn by a very famous culprit from a couple cases back and a couple games ago.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point.
It's seriously, it looks like Unguard's jacket. I know it isn't.
It literally might be because of the fucking auction.
That would be so funny. Let our members discuss this matter with a clear conscience of the goddess of law. I feel like they wouldn't take it because his clothes were not important to the case in any way, shape, or form.
They weren't.
A clear conscience. Don't make me laugh. Courtney, please. Give us your report.
On April 5th, Prosecutor Edgeworth carried out an illegal investigation and resisted arrest. He was arrested by 2 of our members who caught him in the act, myself and Blaze DeBest. Prosecutor Edgeworth disrupted the investigation of attorney Jill Crane's murder. He claims that the culprit, Kay Faraday, was arrested without sufficient evidence. Even now, his claim remains unchanged.
Tell us more about the murder incident.
On April 5th, the victim's body was found here in the PIC meeting room. Regarding the details...
I, Sebastian the best prosecutor, will enlighten you.
The prosecutor in charge, Sebastian DeBest, will explain the rest of the details.
Oh, that's me. The murder happened on the night of April 4th. The victim was one Jill Crane.
On the same night, a black market auction was being held in this very meeting room. I guess Miss Crane was taking part in the auction. Yep.
The murder occurred in the middle of the auction, did it not?
When Miss Crane was found, she was dressed like the conductor of the auction. However, based on the fact that the auction continued after the murder occurred, I deduced that Miss Crane could not have been...
deduced.
Yeah, could not have been the conductor.
You weren't the one who made that deduction.
Sebastian, please show everyone the basis for the arrest of the culprit.
Basis on what? You got it,
The
Justin.
arrest of the culprit, are you listening?
Kay Faraday was unable to bear the weight of her good conscience.
I believe you mean her guilty conscience.
I meant what I said. He thinks for a minute. Her guilty conscience. Yes, it was her guilty conscience that drove her to confess the crime. According to her confession on the roof of this building, she met a figure in a red raincoat on the viewing platform.
So Crane was wearing a red raincoat.
Yes, that's correct.
Red
The
raincoat
culprit
style.
used the conductor's clothes as a red herring to mislead us.
Opa red herring style.
At the time of the murder, Miss Crane was wearing a red raincoat.
It was I who discovered the raincoat near this building.
He did. I'm sure it was the forensics team who found it.
To be more precise, it was the forensics team under Sebastian's orders who discovered it.
I thought as much.
According to the blood analysis, the person in the red raincoat and Miss Crane were the same person. The decisive evidence in this culprit's own confession. She testified that she killed her. That's right, the culprit is Kay Faraday. It couldn't have been anyone else but her.
Well then, Edgeworth, if you have any objections, let's hear them.
I have no objections.
I see. Seems all the fight's gone out of you after your little overnight stay.
I have no objections to your claim that I investigated illegally. I admit to that. However, I object to the claim that Kay is the culprit.
I will testify that Sebastian's investigation was fair and just.
Even if it was stupid.
Even if it was stupid.
Of course it was, Justin. Wait, what was that?
Very, very stupid. I feel that goes without saying, however.
Don't you know I'm the fairest of them all?
Edgeworth, my boy, despite how things may seem, I actually
King of
kind of
high roll line.
If, and this is just an if, you see, if you were to withdraw your objection, you might be sitting on this side of the bench tomorrow.
What? Edgeworth's like, that is like the last place I want to be.
Yeah.
I'll ask you one more time, Edgeworth. You have any objections?
Don't take me for a fool.
I'd advise you to watch what you say.
This man is the one who should watch what he's saying. I'm talking about the case, not about a chair. I demand a testimony. By all means, let me hear it. I want to know how the PIC understands this case.
A testimony from us, eh? Fine, then, if that's what it takes to make you happy. All right, boy, give it to him.
Okay. Well, Justine's like, no.
Actually, I kind of want to see this.
Courtney, give him the materials from the investigation.
Sir, but that's...
It's the end of the line for him. I'll let him go out in a blaze of glory.
If you insist, Mr. Chairman.
Yay, my evidence back.
I love how, smug she is.
I just like the idea of her smugly handing you this absolute unorganized mess of evidence. Look at all this shit she just handed me. With one hand, just smugly
She's like, don't forget the Jammin' Ninja mask. That is mandatory for his consideration.
Don't forget this nice letter coated in blood. I gave it to you blood end. I'm not touching that.
Oh, look at that! Edgeworth's fingerprints are in the blood now. He is the culprit.
Why don't we have Courtney give the testimony?
I have no objections, just as long as it's not
He
Sebastian.
has no objections to the testimony. Case closed. Mr. Edgeworth.
Don't worry, Kay. You just watch from over there. Summary of the case.
Miss Crane went to the black market auction as a customer. The red raincoat was one of the items up for auction. We believe that she left her seat after winning the bid for it. The only exit from the storeroom is the hatch that leads to the viewing platform. Miss Crane went out to the viewing platform, where she was attacked by Kay Faraday. That was how she met her end, and that concludes my summary of the case.
The red raincoat was up for auction. Is that a fact?
It is quite likely. The red raincoat had been a piece of evidence due to its opus style in the assassination attempt on the president of Zhengfa, as you well know. Originally, it should have been stored in an appropriate place, but when I asked about it, I learned that it went missing.
And it somehow made its way to the black market auction. Certainly a natural conclusion.
My, well done, Courtney. Your explanation is as clear as ever.
I am much obliged. Prosecutor Edgeworth, will you concede defeat now?
Sorry, but I don't plan on it.
I see. I am relieved.
Relieved? What does she mean? Come to think of it, her reason for questioning me yesterday remains a mystery. Just what is she thinking?
Let me cook.
Actually, let me cook.
Fine. I didn't want to cook anyways.
They just, like, start cooking in the same kitchen. They're just getting each other's
It turns into
space.
food wars.
Yeah. Miss Crane went to the black market auction as a customer. The red raincoat was one of the items up for auction. I believe that she left her seat after winning the bid for it. The only exit from the storeroom is the hatch that leads to the viewing platform. Miss Crane went out to the viewing platform where she was attacked by Kay Faraday. Okay.
So, yeah, let's look at the evidence. First of all, what's Lotta's testimony?
So Lala's testimony is that she saw or heard someone get murdered, I think?
The black market auction was being held in the tower, blah blah blah. 11
Yeah.
people attended, each was wearing a mask. It continued after, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Masks. Lotta's photo, check the photo. It doesn't really prove much.
The fact
Or
that she
there's
has
there's
blood
another.
on her hand.
Check the second page. Just after the crime scene, my Lotta, after a conductor and another person entered the storeroom, one of them suddenly started screaming.
Here it's saying
It's just after the crime, which is like, then why
we
are they
believe that she left her
standing,
seat
right?
after winning the bid for it, and then she went up to the viewing platform. But if
Right.
that happened, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think it doesn't make sense if the photo was taken just after the crime and
Yeah,
until
why's her hand
somebody's-
bleeding?
What? Oh, you Apollo Justice now? Why is her hand I see, you meant in the photo. Yeah. Well, cause if you think about it, if the victim was wearing it, then if that photo is correct, if the description of the photo is correct, then why is it standing, right? Like if this was taken after the crime, then this should be a dead body wearing the raincoat, not a person standing wearing the raincoat.
Yeah.
But maybe they would just say, okay, the description of the photo is wrong. We might want to press things. It's been 2 weeks, so I don't fully remember everything.
Let's start here. So the red raincoat was also up for auction.
Yes, it had belonged to Shelley the Killer.
Based on the circumstances, we must consider that it was an item up for auction, you see.
That was when he wore. That was what he wore when he targeted the President of Sunfa. There was a mannequin that was positioned unnaturally amongst the auction goods. That must have been where the red raincoat was on display. Do you know how the goods were procured?
We're currently investigating it, but it's none of your concern, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Soon you will be nothing more than an ordinary individual, and then you will be finished.
Are you gonna kill me after turning me into an ordinary person?
I mean, with the aura of murder that happens around a Mr. Phoenix Wright, who you seem to be cohabitating with, someone's going to do it. Might be me, I don't know.
We are simply roommates.
Yes, yes.
It seems that the result of this deliberation has already been decided. Enough about me. Please continue your testimony.
Are these adoption papers that you signed off with this man? Very trucy? Since the raincoat had been up for auction.
That hasn't happened yet. Why would the victim immediately leave her seat?
That had to do with how the auction was conducted. It seems that after the winning bid, the winner was required to pay for the item immediately.
That matches up with Miss Hart's testimony.
We believe that Miss Crane paid her bid for the raincoat, and then immediately tried to leave the auction. That's also not, I mean, obviously the elevator, because I don't think we're going to object on that point. But
Yeah, maybe not yet.
maybe pressing it, and then she talks about the elevator.
The victim was a PIC member. Couldn't she have just left from the meeting room?
Yeah. If she had done so during the auction, then its existence would have been revealed to the public.
Since Miss Hart knew about it, it seems the cat's already out of the proverbial bag.
The customers were required to enter and exit from the hatch. Miss Crane was simply following protocol. Considering where the murder took place, she must have tried to leave through there.
Why would Kay do such a thing?
Hell if I know. We intend to question her about that later.
Later. That seems to be your favorite time for interrogations.
If the culprit was aware that the customers were required to exit from the hatch, it would have been easy to lie in wait for an ambush. Miss Crane was attacked when she was leaving the hatch. Go through the evidence, because I definitely don't remember what all we
Wait
have.
a minute. The only exit from the storeroom is the hatch that leads to the viewing platform. No, it's not. Wait a minute. What about the elevator? Hello?
I mean, I said that like 80 seconds ago.
I know, but now I just realized it, because I realize everything 80 seconds after other people do.
Righto.
So...
I don't think that, like, the thing is that I don't think that, like, that help, like, she's technically incorrect if you think about it like that. But
at least
also, like,
something.
yeah, I don't know. What's the... What's like the two things over? Meeting room blood, I see. I mean, you could definitely... the thing is, we don't have a thing about the elevator, right? It would be the blood on it, which feels like a weird thing. It's like the blood that has an elevator under it proves there's an elevator, right? That's weird.
Yes.
I feel like it might be a translation thing, because if you think about when we pressed it, like they talked about the door in the meeting room as if it's another exit. So I think that what they meant to say is the only exit from the auction plus the storage room as one unit is the hatch, and then Edgeworth is like actually
The only exit to the outside world.
Yeah, exactly. We might have to press the last thing or two. Specifically that we haven't yet.
Met her end? What do you mean by that? Yeah, how do you think the end was met?
She passed away, or to be more precise, she was murdered.
The candelabra was one of the items in the auction. Therefore, Kay should not have been able to get her hands on it.
If she was able to lie in wait for the attack, then she must have known about the storeroom. If she sneaked into the storeroom during the auction, she could have obtained it.
Now, if only we had some way to know for sure where the candelabra was during the entire auction, you know. How about it? Well, there is no such evidence that I know of.
My apologies. We hope to find that evidence soon.
Edgeworth, my boy. It's too bad, you know. It seems you won't be able to use this line of attack. The victim encountered the culprit on top of the roof and the crime occurred there. According to her reasoning, the murder took place at the viewing platform. But was that really the case? Some piece of evidence must tell the whole story behind it. Let's try looking again.
Blood on the elevator for that's when she met her end, because that's not...
Yeah.
She died on the elevator.
Yeah.
No.
Alright, maybe it's the line before it?
Judge Courtney, there's a contradiction in your testimony.
I cannot authorize this statement.
Oh, shit.
And why not?
Because it's obvious you're bluffing.
Is that the impression I give off? Next time for sure, I'll present evidence that will stop her for good.
Yeah, I guess that would make more sense for this line.
Yeah.
Alright,
No.
Buckley.
Judge Courtney, could you take a look at this piece of evidence?
I'm afraid I cannot accept that piece of evidence. I do not believe it has any relation to my testimony.
As I expected, she's nothing like Sebastian. However, I won't back down so easily. Okay. Judge Courtney, don't you have a problem with that statement just now?
Should I have a problem with it?
Exactly, because there's no problem at all.
In that case, you should have refrained from speaking in the first place.
I don't think that left a good impression. Dang it! Wood cracking sound effect.
Maybe something else proves it? Yeah, that doesn't really say. What's the deal with the trunk? Hid the victim in this box.
So that doesn't matter as much.
Right. Maybe it's something early in our pages that we're not really paying attention to.
The pool of blood matters because that's when the candelabra was pulled out.
Yeah. Victim's fingerprints and blood were found on the hood.
Yeah. Yeah, this doesn't actually prove anything, because it just proves that their body was moved over to the lift.
Can you look through the early evidence? It's like, okay, this thing, we already looked at that. White jacket profiler. The letter seems relevant. The keycard record, probably not, but give it a check. It's Justine and then later Jill.
Yeah.
Okay. Stab wounds to the left chest. Head wound was post-mortem.
That was her body being pushed off the lift.
Right. Burn mark on victim's hand. That's weird, right? Oh, the other hand. I see.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Oh, so that is a very non-bloody candelabra.
Yeah. I guess they cleaned it for investigation, but... Yeah. Check the pamphlet! Or meeting room getting platform. What's page 2? Okay.
Okay.
Purple flower. Probably not the ticket stub or the letter. Ninja mask. Badge. So if it was found on the hood, presumably she used her bloody hand to...
Pull down the hood.
But... why? When
Her
did
hand was
even get
bloodied,
bloody?
and then she took off her hood.
When did the hand even get bloody?
We don't know, but we do know that was before she left, because as you can see right here.
Right. God, what's the description again? Just after the crime was taken by Lotta, who had snuck into the store. After the conductor and another person entered the store. Maybe it's that thing I was saying earlier, where if this photo is to be, if the description is to be trusted, then this photo has to, like, that would refute this line, right?
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go! I'm 5-head!
Judge Court, I have found it to be strange for a while.
Yeah,
Why
me
is
too.
Miss Hart here with us?
She is an eyewitness to this case. Isn't it only natural for her to be in attendance?
Oh, shucks. I reckon I'm more of an ear witness than an eyewitness. It seems that gaining the trust of others isn't your strong point, Judge Courtney.
Perhaps I simply do not wish to be as tactless as you.
It appears you have failed to get the witness to tell you the most vital information. Please look at this photo. This was taken by Miss Hart.
This photo seems to have been taken in the storeroom, and what of it?
According to your reasoning, the incident took place in the viewing platform. However, Miss Hart encountered the incident in the storeroom. That's right. It had taken place just before this photo was taken. Wait, that's true to Justine's reasoning. Exactly. It does not hold up. What?
Why do you...
Sorry, I had to teleport to the bathroom. Miss Hart, allow me to ask you again. You saw the person in the photo with your own eyes, correct? I sure did. I seen him plain as day with my own 2 eyes. And what'd you think at the time? I figured I was about to get me a big scoop, you know. I guess that makes sense. That's not what I meant. What did you think of that person? Huh? Well, I reckon she'd help me bring home the bacon. Are you mocking me? Aw, shucks, don't make that scary old face. It was just a harmless little joke. Person in the red raincoat, I reckon they were the culprit. I hope you understand now. The crime occurred in the...
Leg bone. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I cannot understand your argument if you do not say it out loud. If you had simply asked, I would have been more than willing to explain.
Explain what?
The sounds Miss Hart heard may not necessarily be related to the case.
That is impossible. Enough of your excuses.
That's impossible. Was the voice that Miss
That's
Hart heard really
impossible.
that of Miss Crane?
Such a shady conversation must have had something to do with the case.
What did her voice sound like?
Her voice, well, beats me. How was I supposed to know? They're both using voice changers.
Yes, the voices Miss Hart heard had been altered by a device. We must therefore question whether or not they have any bearing on this case. Are you trying to feed a cat? You need not object just because you wish to sigh.
Judge Courtney, it seems I have greatly overestimated you. No. Courtney is quite amazing, you see. You claim that the sounds Miss Hart heard have no bearing on this case. Even if they do not, it doesn't change the fact that the crime took place in the storeroom. At the very least, the crime must have occurred before the victim went up to the rooftop. The reason being, this evidence proves that the crime occurred before the victim went up to the viewing platform. And let me give you a hand here, Courtney. At first, I thought the person in the red raincoat was the culprit.
Well, Miss Hart's testimony certainly made it sound that way.
Precisely, it was because she saw that the person's hand was covered in blood. Anyone who heard her testimony would have arrived at the same conclusion. The person in the red raincoat was the culprit, and the blood on their hand was the victim's. However, if the person in the red raincoat was the victim, then the situation changes completely. Since blood can be seen in the photo, it must have been taken just after the crime occurred. It seems we've been under the wrong impression in regards to the victim's condition. This photo shows the true condition of the victim. The victim was still alive after the attack?
I think it would be struck the culprit.
With what?
Maybe the candelabra.
It was jammed inside her chest.
Well, it was, I mean, oh, I see what you, right, because that was the first wound, and then the second wound was only, I mean, there's plenty of shit in that room.
Nothing that
victim...
I would use as a weapon.
Really? I mean...
Not really.
What about the horn on that stuffed it? No, go to the next page.
Actually. Was it missing?
It is missing its left horn.
That is actually funny. Was it always missing its left horn?
I don't... Maybe, but even then, that's not actually sharp. Go to the next page. Yeah, we don't really get a picture of the room. I don't know. It's definitely not the first thing, because that's what they already think is true. Still alive after the attack, maybe. Oh, you know what? There is the bloody handprints on the ladder. So maybe that is what happened. They, like, left, trying not to die.
The victim was definitely attacked in the storeroom. Immediately afterward, the victim was seen with blood in her hand. That must mean the victim was still alive even after she was attacked. The blood in her hand must have come from her own wound. No way! Are you saying that she died from a hand injury? No, that is not the case. I suspect she just held her hand against the wound. It can't be seen in the photo, but at this moment she must have already suffered a fatal wound.
Oh, if that's true, then it changes a lot of things, you know.
It seems you understand. This refutes the allegations against Kay. Kay encountered the victim after this picture was taken. I believe at that point in time, the victim was already on the verge of death. It's likely Kay just happened to be present when the victim reached the end of her strength.
That is quite the coincidence.
Indeed, I can only say that she was at the wrong place, at the wrong time. Like literally every other person in the Ace Attorney series.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, it seems you have forgotten a crucial fact.
Ah, you mean that, right? You must be pretending that he hasn't noticed it, you see.
What did you say? Are you implying I forgot something?
Courtney, I think it's about time. You gave him his last rites.
Hey, Pops, Justine's with me, you know. Don't order her around like that.
You know, even though you're my son, you're so embarrassing.
I'm not embarrassing. I'm sorry, but you're both rather embarrassing. Justine, give Mr. Edgeworth his,
Very well. I shall give him his last rites.
You are all embarrassing, actually. Every single one of you.
Yes, but I get away with it because I am a hot, tall woman.
Is she tall?
I need her to be a man.
We just find her in real life and she's like 5'2".
I mean, I obviously I'd still be attracted to her, but... When the body was found, there were 3 wounds in Miss Crane's chest. I'm sure you're well aware what kind of wounds these were, right? Yes, she was stabbed in the heart with the 3-pronged candelabra. Is there any person who could survive such an injury? Please take a close look at the autopsy report. Can you still say the same thing after reading it, Imperial?
Well done, Justine. With this, Mr. Edgeworth will. I will offer a rebuttal, of course. Why would you do that? Did you hear what Justine just said? Of course I did. And I still plan to object it. That's not fair. You're always opposing me at every turn. It was never my intention to oppose you. Really? It's simply not worth my time. I see. So that's how it is. Yep. After all, I'm...
That's enough, you know. You're embarrassing your father, you see.
What do you mean, Pops? Okay.
True, you know. Sure, yeah, totally. Totally. Except it wasn't bloody. Uh-huh. Yeah, let's take a close look at that autopsy report. I'll follow her orders any day.
She leading us. It's like there's no blood anywhere. My ass, they are.
What do you mean? They're red. So you see it?
I guess.
I mean, definitely, I feel like it would have more blood, but, you know.
Oh, like a shit ton more. Like that piddling amount.
Let's check the autopsy report. Did Gumfuck not tell you? It was right next to it.
Look at all the blood over there.
Cause of death with stab wounds to the left chest with a candelabra. Head wound was post-mortem. Burn mark on hand.
Look at all that blood. You're telling me that it was like 3 little trickles of blood?
Yeah.
It like spurted out after it was like removed.
Oh, actually, I think that makes sense though. Because if just the tips got in and then sat there, and then you pull it out quickly, then the blood's not gonna get to it, even if it spurts. I could see a world where that
blood
happens.
slicks clean off.
I think the weird thing is the red raincoat, right? Because it only has blood on the fucking hood.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have blood like in the chest area at all.
Does it even have holes on it?
Oh, that's a good point. It doesn't. It could have been worn open, but... Mr. Edgeworth.
We'll be fine, Kay. There's nothing for you to worry about. Evidence that the victim was alive after the incident. If I could just find that, Kay will be.
So maybe she put on the raincoat after... Well, there'd still be... No, there wouldn't be blood on it because...
It would be very hard to wear the candelabra, or the raincoat over the candelabra wound.
Right. Well, it would... If you don't zip it up, it'd be fine.
But why even put it on?
I don't fucking know. But that's the only way it makes sense to not be punctured, right? Unless it was worn open before.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. That seems weird.
And why only the hood? Because
Well,
she reached her hand up.
Yeah, because... yeah, I don't know. Something's up with the raincoat, I think. Very well aware what kinds of wounds these are. Stabbed in the heart. In the heart! Like... In the raincoat.
The left chest. Does she have a heart on the right side of her chest?
Autopsy report doesn't say.
Head wound was post-mortem.
Burn mark.
So if the head wound was post-mortem...
I would try the raincoat on the current slide. I'm not super confident, but I think it's worth a shot. That's the only sus line, right? The rest are just fluff. Let's go!
Nice. Chairman DeBest, do you know what this is?
It seems to be a red raincoat. How about it, Courtney?
The victim, Miss Crane, was wearing this earlier. Prosecutor Edgeworth, must I repeat my explanation to you all over again?
I suppose it just might come to that. Judge Courtney, answer me this. This red raincoat was stained with blood. Do you happen to remember where specifically those blood stains were located?
Of course I do. They were on the hood. Wait, it can't be.
What does that mean?
Judge Courtney, were there any other blood stains besides the one on the hood?
None were detected.
Don't you think it's strange?
The victim died from a stab wound to the chest. In that case, there should have been bloodstains on the front of the raincoat. However, the only blood they found was on the hood. This is a huge contradiction. The wound on the victim's head was no ordinary head wound. It was a stab wound. After all, the victim sustained this wound before she was stabbed in the chest.
It does appear that way, doesn't it? The victim first suffered the head wound. If she had already been stabbed in the chest, the raincoat would have been stained with blood. Therefore, it is unthinkable that her chest was stabbed before she suffered the head wound.
So, clocked in the head with the candelabra and then stabbed with it, or something like that.
So the order of the wounds would be first the head, followed by the chest.
Where does the burn come into play?
However, does that really change the situation?
With this, a contradiction is born, one that overturns all of our assumptions up until now.
Is the change really that great? I look forward to hearing it. Well then, this contradiction, why don't you show it to me? With evidence.
Which piece of evidence shows the contradiction that arises from the order of the head wounds?
I mean, the candelabra's, like, not being the murder weapon, maybe? The autopsy report does say it's post-mortem, which is kind of weird. I guess that could have been it could have been like assumed, but
yeah.
Edwin was post-mortem. Yeah. Wait, maybe that's still true, and the thing is that both wounds were post-mortem.
Stabbing was post-mortem.
And that, maybe. I mean,
she died to a burn to her hand.
I mean, I don't know how she died, but I think that either the autopsy report needs to be updated, don't say it, or it's what we present here, right? Because it says the head wound was post-mortem. Like, that is a huge contradiction.
This is the autopsy report written by Dr. Young. According to this, the head wound was post-mortem.
But that's not what the raincoat shows.
Exactly. It's the exact opposite.
Bailiff! Wait, sorry. Bailiff!
Thank you.
Hurry and summon Dr. Bonnie Young at once. Until we hear what she has to say, we cannot close the curtains on this case.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
You know I had to do it to him, son. Dr. Young is a busy person. It will take some time for her to arrive.
She's old.
In the meantime, let us try viewing this case from another angle. Or another angel, as many have called me. There's something that's been on my mind, one of the key figures in this case.
Gee, Judge Courtney, that was unusually, egotistical of you.
The woman who voice acts me is down bad. The conductor, we still don't know who that person is.
Now that you mention it, even after our investigation, we still have no idea who it is.
I love how his hair is like
an exclamation point, a question mark.
He's like a chow.
Yeah.
The conductor has come up time and time again during this hearing. However, at this point in time, their identity remains a mystery. How about it? Do you have any ideas?
I'm still not sure at the moment. However, there is someone I have in mind. A certain individual involved with this case who might know something about it. Who's that? Blaze the Best, I demand your testimony. What? Why not mine? Don't say such a stupid thing. Why would you suspect Pops?
Are you trying to cast suspicion towards the chairman of the PIC? Do you understand what that means?
Status and prestige mean nothing before the truth. That man is trying to pin the crime on Kay. The evidence that was in Kay's possession, the ticket stub, the mask, the corsage, these items did not come into her possession out of her own volition. By some method, that man purposely planted them on her personage.
My favorite JRPG series. It is hard to believe such a sudden accusation. But I'll ask, just in case.
Which one's your favorite, Judge Courtney? 5, of course. It has the most justice in it.
Did you see Saimijima? Hubba hubba.
Basically me.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm sorry, DeBest, you have a talking cat? Okay.
Alright, Courtney, who'd you date in your first playthrough? She just, like, fidgets around the room.
I downloaded
obviously,
the C mod and dated Goro Akechi.
obviously the nurse. Because if you look here on your play file, it says Futa. No, that was... My younger brother came in.
Why would he do that?
Obviously, to direct suspicion towards Kay. I succeeded in drawing out those words from him earlier.
Mr. Chairman, your response?
Ow, my finger. Ow, my finger.
Oh, that's what happened. He burned her hand.
Are you too shocked to speak?
And what of it?
Yeah. Why did he burn her hand, though?
His name is Blaze.
Okay, fair enough. To get rid of some kind of evidence, though, of a form.
Probably.
Fingerprints. But not the fingerprints. He burned the top of her hand, right?
Yeah, he did. Maybe she had like a tattoo or something.
Maybe like some organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to figure anything else about that. I just love how perfectly, like, she's laid there. Like, I know, like, obviously for the thing, but, like, the bloody hand, open palmed, out like that. The burn mark on her hand, the card in her hand, the fucking... It's so obviously planted.
Yeah.
As planted as the flower.
And what of it? Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said what of it? You say that you drew out some words from me, but you don't have a shred of proof, you know. No one else has heard it but you. It just doesn't work like that, you see. Or do you have something else? You know, some kind of basis for your argument.
His confidence. He also showed it at the cell.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, I would like you to explain once more. I trust we have your permission, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, but of course. I'm pretty interested in this matter myself, you know. I'd like to know just what part of me seems criminal to Edgeworth. There's no one as honest as I am, you see. Want me to tell you about all the times I poured bleach into my son's eyeballs? I'll be real honest about that. 0. Your dad's fucked up, Edgeworth. Even I'm not that crazy. What the fuck is wrong with him?
How can he say that with a straight face? Let's start from the top. The fact that the auction was held in the room is a cause for suspicion. This is the PIC meeting room. I imagine it'd be difficult for non-members to enter. That's why all the members have key cards, you know. I think we can assume that multiple auctions have been held here before. Therefore, suspecting a member of the PIC would be the best. Yes, because the conductor had to have had him as a PIC member. Wait, no! What was that all about? What do I do, Pops? I just helped the enemy.
Sebastian really is an idiot, you know. But you see, Edgeworth, I'm not the only one who has access, you know.
Indeed. There are 11 members in the PIC. Even if we rule out the victim, Miss Crane, there are still 10 potential suspects. Like in a new game of Among Us.
It's not me.
But it could be the shared, right?
I don't know who it is, but whoever it is should just come forward.
Oh, Blaze says that.
I don't know who it is. Yes, everyone, just calm down, you know. Or I'll light this whole building on fire.
What?
I said I'll light the dancing floor on fire with my moves.
I said I'll light the victim's hand on fire. No, wait, shit.
I said I'll burn you all. Edgeworth, is that all you got? Where is the evidence to suspect me? Oh, so you've fallen silent. But you've gone too far, you see. I won't forgive you anymore. It's too late for regrets, you know. I'm a very important man, you see. Former chief prosecutor and chairman of the PIC. It's fine if you're not prepared to face the fire, you know. 'Cause you see, there goes my dossier. Either way, it won't make any difference.
He's deranged. Holy shit. See those close-up on those eyes?
'Cause I'm gonna bully you. You've been rambling on for quite a while about the most trivial details, you know.
I wish that was the header for one of Courtney's interrogations and not his.
Like the location of the murder and the order of the wounds and, what else was there? It just doesn't really matter, you know. 'Cause you see, none of that means anything, you know. Think about it. We've got the suspect herself saying she killed the victim. That's all that matters, you see. She'll even get a lighter sentence with her confession, you know. Now then, if there are any contradictions, be my guest. How can that be considered a testimony? There must be a contradiction somewhere.
That person, he's very important, isn't he?
That's a word for it.
Mr. Edgeworth, it's alright. Let's just give up. Surely I must have killed her. I can even remember it.
Don't be tied down by your muddled memories, if you want to believe in something. Believe in your own innocence. Believe in me, who believes in you. Who believes in you, who believes in me.
But...
My opponent is the PIC chairman. Taking him down won't be easy, however. He has underestimated me, if I can take advantage of that.
This is probably one where you just press everything and then he accidentally slips up.
Pretty much. If these trivial details create contradictions in the case, we cannot call it the truth. It's fine, as long as the rest of the case makes sense, you know. Every case is gonna have a small contradiction or two, you see. But if we get bogged down by the details, we won't be able to arrest the criminal. Trials will go on forever, you see. You, of all people, should understand why. I don't. That's why I'm asking you. Ah, young fools these days. Anyway, you were rambling on about stuff. The autopsy report and the questions about the conductor. Were you even listening? I gotta be honest. Talk is cheap, you know. I was listening, you see. But I didn't think much of it, you know. You didn't think much of it, even after I brought up all these issues. Perhaps your judgment needs to be questioned rather than my ability as a prosecutor. That's a good one, Edgeworth. But you see... How can you say it doesn't matter? Are you trying to suppress the truth? Well, you see, it simply doesn't matter as much as you say it does, you know. You see, Edgeworth, you're only saying it matters to avoid the real issue here. Yep. It may be true she confessed, however, that does not make it the truth. She is suffering from memory loss, so we must question the credibility of her testimony. Oh my God. Even if you say that, I actually was kind of close to his voice. It still won't solve anything. What good will it do to deny her confession? Sounds like nonsense to me. Wanna try asking her again? I think she'll just say the same damn thing the murderer again. She's the murderer again, though. Very well. Let's try asking her again one last time. I'd like to hear from Kay herself, whether or not she is the culprit.
Huh? From me? Will that be alright? If this goes poorly, it will be quite unfavorable for you.
I do not mind. However, I shall ask Kay the question myself. I moved to tears, you know. Oh, how touching, you know. How very touching. Why, I'll like to ask her. Oh, I have one condition. Can I eat cheese balls during it? No. If all this proves to be a waste of time.
That was Sebastian's, science fair project.
Dad. And that will be the end of it. How's that sound? The end of the hearing Yes, yes. It seems you can be a smart once in a while, Sebastian. In other words, you see, if she confesses again, Kay Faraday will be found, beyond a shadow of a doubt, guilty. Yep, it's a fine idea.
Guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt, huh? Yeah, that's right. That's harsh. But either way, if I do nothing, she'll be declared guilty anyway. Kay?
Yes.
I know what I'm asking of you is unreasonable, but please, I want you to answer me. It doesn't matter how tiny it is. Do you remember anything? Anything that would prove your innocence?
Why? Why would you go that far for me? I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm too scared to remember. Because I might have done something even worse. If that were the case, it would only make things worse for you, Mr. Edgeworth. Kay Faraday must have been a despicable criminal. Someone who betrayed your trust.
Don't worry. We've only known each other for a short while, but I know you very well. I'd even say that I know you better than yourself now that you've lost your memories. Wow, actually a fucking hit of damage. You cannot possibly be the culprit because your true identity is... Oh, that's why.
The Jammin' Ninja!
The great thief, Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu was a noble thief who would never stoop to murder.
No, it's useless. After all, no matter what, that memory still remains. This image that's stuck in my head, I just can't get rid of it. That means I must have...
There's no clear evidence to prove that you're the culprit besides your own confession. Remember what I said? You must believe in yourself. Or perhaps you cannot trust my words?
No, that's not it. Because you are trying to save someone like me. You've already lost so much, all for my sake. I can't bear it anymore. Please just give up.
I see now. I thought it was strange. The reason you were acting like you wanted to be found guilty was because you were concerned about me. That is just like you, Kay.
It's because you're a good person, Mr. Edgeworth.
Unfortunately, I may fall short of your expectations. I'm not trying to be a good person. No matter how much you may want me to give up, I'll keep trying to save you. That is the nature of who I am. Whether or not it's a burden for you is none of my concern. Phoenix is like, this is why you're such a tsundere, Edgeworth. Such a little mew. He's like, I'm gonna fucking claw your eyes out, right? Okay, believe in yourself once more. You're a noble, great thief. What you should be doubting is your memory of committing the murder. That is my wish above all else. Please. Kay!
What is it? Did you remember something?
If she remembers something now, it'd be like a bad movie.
Bull.
Bull.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, please ask her to clarify.
Well, Kay, what do you mean by bull?
I remember now. The person in the red raincoat had that with her. The stuffed bull doll. I'm certain of it.
Is that true?
Is that true, defendant? Yes, Your Honor. The court hereby accepts the defendant's statement as a new piece of testimony.
Oh, quit messing around, Courtney. A testimony like that cannot be accepted, you know.
Your objection has been noted, sir. However, testimony about the victim's belongings
Has been lacking up until now.
Nevertheless, her vague memories cannot be trusted,
Her memories are vague. That would be bad for us as well. Didn't you say this earlier yourself, Mr. Chairman? Since we have the suspect's confession, we don't need to worry about the trivial details. If we decide to doubt her memories, then we must also doubt her confession, which is the main foundation of our case. Are you willing to do that, sir?
Wow, Courtney. You're right. Well, never mind. I shall leave it up to you.
Thank you very much.
We did it.
It was touch and go for a while there, though. However, these words of Judge Courtney just now, it almost feels as if she's on our side.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, do you know anything about this stuffed animal?
The stuffed animal Kay spoke of must have been this. We found it in the storeroom. It is believed to be one of the items for the auction. I just wanted Kay to be like, bullshit!
I really thought she was gonna.
And this is why the game was never localized.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have just been like, that's bullcrap.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Do you know nothing? Do you know something about Justine?
No, it's just a bit different from what I imagined.
Indeed. It's certainly not what I would have expected the victim to be carrying. Let's examine every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Then again, the third Ace Attorney game is rated M.
Really?
Yeah. It has, like, no swear words in it. It has, like, a couple dams, maybe. But it's rated M. Like, that's a real thing. If you look at the game case, let me go see if I can find it. Trials and Tribulations, I think. No, that one's rated T. Which one's rated M? One of them is rated M.
Dual Destinies. Oh, because of the bombing.
Really?
Yep.
That's really funny. Okay, I was completely wrong. I thought it was because there was just, like, such a copious amount of blood. Really, a bombing is enough to get an
It does
M
say
rating?
violence, blood, suggestive themes, and language. So it could be, like, something about bodies and 3D models as opposed to pixels, although I don't think Spirited Justice is it? No, 13 and up. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know. I was probably the bombing.
Very interesting. It was a good game to get an M rating, I guess.
I have opinions on that game, but, you know...
Actually, over here, it's a T rating. I don't fucking know.
Let me see.
A couple of them have been rated M at least. At least one. Let's examine every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
Saw some spoiler art there.
Oh, did you? That's funny.
Sure did.
That's fine.
I don't know who it is.
Okay. Don't worry about it too much.
Someone. The left horn is missing.
There's a hole in the stuffed animal. Seems this hole is where the horn is inserted into. I guess its head isn't stuffed. No.
I guess its head isn't stuffed with cotton. I wonder what's inside.
Perhaps I should examine the other side. Maybe the horn is not stuffed.
It's possible.
The right horn seems to be fine, but the entire balance feels a bit off.
This horn, it looks like you can move it.
What?
What was that buzzing sound?
The whole room just fucking explodes.
Dual Destinies 2.
Seems this toy is equipped with a recording device.
That's awfully convenient.
And I knew who you were right away. You can't hide that burn from me. Silence, huh? I've been waiting for my chance to give revenge all this time. Is this the moment of the murder?
Who could have recorded something like this?
There ain't no doubt about it. This is here when I was heard.
We cannot verify when these voices were recorded. It's also possible that they aren't related to the case at all. If only we had some video as well.
That's hogwash. I'm telling you, that right there was a conversation I heard. Victim was holding on to it, right? I reckon it must have been recorded when she got attacked.
That certainly is a possibility. However, your testimony alone is insufficient. I require something with a little more credibility.
Again, her words. It almost sounds as if she's trying to give me advice. Judge Courtney, there's no mistake that these voices were from the incident. Please recall the audio that was recorded by the stuffed animal. I knew who you were right away. You can't hide that burn mark from me. If we compare this with a part of recording from a certain piece of evidence, you can prove it. Let's go grab that autopsy report. I sure love these cases where you have like 18 pieces of evidence. You use the same 3 ones like 8 times.
Yeah, of course. The autopsy report. And exactly what part of the autopsy report shows that.
Lisa's like, just stop showing it. Good lord. Tell us something different. This is boring. This part shows that the recording took place during the moment of the crime. Really? This is really... I think this is the first time they have a pointer on, like, text.
Yes. Yes, I think it is.
I remember clearly what the voice said. You can't hide that burn from me. On the victim's hand, there was a burn mark. Indeed. It just happened to match up, you see. But what of it? According to case testimony,
does a giant fire.
The victim had been holding the stuffed animal. And it just happened to record a characteristic of the victim, namely the burn. But that's just coincidence. I mean, it could happen, right?
I do not think so. It is hard to believe that all of this is simply a coincidence. The voices on the stuffed animal were most likely recorded during the incident.
One of these voices must belong to the true culprit. From what we've heard, it must have been the one who was doing most of the talking. But what's the point? In the end, we still can't tell their gender or identity, you know. Indeed, because they've been using voice changers, it can't be helped.
It seems the situation has become quite clear. The conversation Miss Hart overheard was between the culprit and Miss Crane.
That's what I've been telling you from the start. And from this, we will understand a new fact.
Please enlighten us, then. I trust you have no objections, Mr. Chairman.
Know what you want. According to Miss Hart's testimony just before the incident, 2 people came up from the auction hall using the lift. It must have been the conductor and one of the auction guests. They probably went to settle the payment after winning a bid. And then it was there that the crime was carried out. Since the auction continued after the crime took place, we are led to a single truth. This is a new fact we've arrived at.
Culprit is the conductor.
The true conductor. Since the conductor was the only one who could have kept the auction going, we can conclude that the deceased victim could not have been the conductor. Justine.
Please be quiet here, okay?
She, like, pats his head.
He's like, oh, affection, I never got that from my father.
If the conductor was not the victim, then they must have been the culprit.
Please wait, that alone is insufficient.
Of course. Even I do not intend to rely upon only the process of elimination. Certain traces left at the crime scene led me to believe that the culprit's the conductor.
Well then, please show it to us.
What were the traces left on the crime scene that led me to deduce that the culprit's the conductor?
Is it, check the, is it the letter? The victim's letter, what does it say? It was, so I think, to Miss Crane, blah blah blah. Maybe.
Is it just everything?
I mean, it's something left at the crime scene. Maybe it's the candelabra? Since it's like, you know,
Part
also
of the
something
up,
that,
up.
yeah.
Oh, wait, no. Upside down.
Since it's also part of the auction.
This is
Nope.
the piece of evidence that shows the culprit is not the conductor. Haha, got you.
I don't quite understand.
Well, even if you don't understand, everyone else certainly does.
I think there are people besides my idiot son who don't understand, you know.
Seems that wasn't it. If the culprit was the conductor, they would have wanted to hide something. I just have to present that.
They wanted to hide something.
One of the horns.
Did we find the other horn?
Nope, I sure wish we did.
Yeah. Oh, conductor's clothes? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because they put her into those clothes to make her seem like the conductor. Okay,
This is
fuck
a
me
piece
up.
of evidence that shows the culprit's the conductor.
Idiot son.
The flower? No, that wasn't found at the crime scene. That Kay had that. Same thing for the Jam and Ninja mask. Maybe it's the... no, I don't know. We, nothing on this page we really found at the crime scene. I don't know, maybe it is the... maybe it is the letter. Oh wait, maybe it's the blood in the PIC meeting room because they would have wanted to hide the storage room.
Here we go. The culprit purposely left a large amount of blood in the meeting room. In doing so, we're to believe that the meeting room had been the scene of the crime. It was a ruse by the true culprit to hide the blood that had fallen from the storeroom.
So we wouldn't find out about the existence of the black market auction, correct?
Indeed. If the culprit had been unrelated to the auction, there would have been no need to do such a thing. Ergo, the culprit could have only been the conductor.
Well then, do you have any idea as to who the conductor might possibly be?
The auction hall is at the PIC meeting room, and furthermore, there's a storeroom above it. The conductor must have been, at the very least, a member of the PIC.
It was Courtney.
So, in other words, you suspect me, I take it.
Isn't it natural to suspect you, the one with the most authority in the PIC?
You are quite capable. I'll give you that much at least. But you know, like I said before, you're far too naive. There goes the evidence of me hosting it. I mean, shut up. You have nothing, you know. There's no evidence that proves I'm the culprit, you see, because I just burned it. If by some chance you do have some evidence, why don't you present it?
Do I have evidence that Blaze is the culprit? Yeah. No. There's evidence. Evidence that you are the culprit.
Oh, why don't you show it to me? This so-called evidence.
Blaze to best, this piece of evidence proves that you are the culprit. I actually think I have anything. The burn mark is like...
I was gonna say, like, I don't know what you're cooking.
I mean, the burn mark, but that's not actual evidence, but, you know.
Go to the next page. I mean... Check the first page. But the mask isn't it. The letter, check the first letter. Because, did we determine that was also forged? Yeah, because it was in her possession. Right. The ticket stub? Check the ticket stub. Okay.
That could only be Kay's because she was,
Well, it's planted. But...
I mean, it's planted, but also she's 17, so she would still be considered a student. I mean, I think she actually did go. I think some of it's planted, but some of it she actually did come in with.
What does it say about her memories, actually? Someone pushed her off the roof.
Could you take a look at this piece of evidence?
Edgeworth, and what about it?
Blazed at best, don't you understand the meaning of this piece of evidence?
Well, you know, I can't say I do. I mean, it doesn't look like it's related at all.
Ah, so this wasn't it. Blazed at best has to be the culprit. However, do I have any evidence to prove it?
Edgeworth, there's no evidence to prove that I'm the culprit, you know.
Do I have evidence that Blaze is the culprit? Blaze himself has suggested that he is the criminal. He's been showing that strange self-confidence for a while now. He knows that there is not a single piece of evidence left behind to incriminate him.
If you play with fire, you're gonna get burned, Edgeworth. Just kidding. I always wanted to say that, you know. Well then, Courtney. I reckon I just remembered something, too. What? You also lost your memories? No, that ain't it. Something just popped in my head right now.
Very well, please tell us.
Holy shit, that was loud.
Courtney, could you tell me what you're doing?
Prosecutor Edgeworth will not give up until we have destroyed every last possibility. I'm destroying every possibility, so that he will never oppose us again.
You know, Courtney, I think the next thing I'm gonna be burning is your promotion.
Never mind, fuck this guy.
Justine, I really don't know what's going on, but well said. Pops, I'm gonna help too. After all, he's the one who's wrong.
Fine, then. Let's hear what she has to say.
Well then, Miss Hart, please proceed.
Sure thing. Just leave it to me.
Please make sure you only tell the truth. Please. Please.
Ain't that a matter of course? I'm a bona fide journalist of justice, you know.
Somehow I feel uneasy.
Y'all saying the culprit was the conductor, right? That means the victim was a customer. Now here's where it gets a mite strange. You see, there were 11 people at the auction. And the auction continued after the incident. I went straight on over and stuck a peek down below.
You don't mean...
Oh, that's exactly what I mean. All 11 people were still there, present and accounted for.
What?
Are you sure about that?
Sure as I'm sure. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. So it started with 11 people, and there were still 11 people after the murder. Was it a ghost? You know, Sebastian, normally a prosecutor would call that a contradiction, you know.
Were there really no changes in the auction at all?
Really? I'm telling you. The auction just went on like normal. But there was one itty little bit of thing, though.
What was it?
You know those hammers you always see at an auction? Like the one that lady over there is using.
An auction gavel, perhaps.
Yep, that's the one. All of a sudden, I couldn't hear the sound no more. It'd been banging away just prior to it.
The sound of the gavel. Does that have to do with the case? Well, that can't possibly be me, then. I never stop making noise with this gavel.
Yes, I do it constantly.
There she goes.
If Miss Hart's testimony is the truth, then this matter has taken a grave turn. If the victim was neither the conductor nor a customer, the very foundation of Prosecutor Edgeworth's reasoning would collapse.
Justice prevails, as they say. I hope you've learned your lesson, Mr. Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth, there really is nothing we can do.
It's not over yet. Some mysteries still remain. I have to think. If I don't, then Kay will be... Did you get the answer you wanted this time? Well then, a deal's a deal.
Please wait, Mr. Chairman. I believe it is too early to make a judgment. There are still a few mysteries left in this case.
I super skipped that real fast.
Yes, good thing I quick read. Until we have solved them all, we cannot call this a complete victory. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Edgeworth? I was expecting you to shout, "Hold it," like you always do.
Yeah, of course. Once again, Judge Courtney has come to my aid. Well then, what is it? What sort of mysteries are left?
Well, of course, there's the contradiction in the autopsy report.
That kind of thing. Hey there, Sebastian's back. I brought her in.
Ah, hooray. Well, what's wrong? Why are we suddenly called here? Did someone suddenly get sick? I'll begin preparing a compressed stat. Ouch. What did you call me here for? Did something happen? Is what she says.
So says Mr. Stewart.
Dr. Young and Miss Jensen, you have my gratitude for taking the trouble to come here. This won't take long, so please, relax. Tell me what in blazes is going on, is what she says. Of course. We called you here because something came up.
Judge Courtney, just what are you planning?
Bonnie Young, under the divine rule of law, please answer truthfully. There were no mistakes in your autopsy report, correct? Granny would never make a mistake! That's certainly strange. Huh? What's strange? This court has found an error in Dr. Young's autopsy report. Dr. Young, please, tell the truth. Did you falsify the autopsy report? That's terrible! How can you accuse her of that?
Yes, I did.
I have no idea what you are talking about. Why would I do such a thing in the first place? That's what she said. To protect the true culprits, of course. What you talking about? I would never do such a thing! How strange. In that case, why would there be an error in the autopsy report, I wonder? Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think?
What do I think?
Oh, I expected you to press into her statement like you normally do.
Why is she taking control of the situation, trying to help me? I don't know what her goal is, but I must play along. If the autopsy report you gave Sebastian had been authentic, then the error should not have been there. Wait a minute, I didn't do anything. That is what we were here to figure out from this point on. Firstly, Dr. Young, I'd like to hear your testimony.
Why do you want to hear her testimony? It would be pointless.
I will be the one who decides whether or not it's pointless, not you.
There are patients waiting for us. But Granny, ouch. Anyways, we don't have time for this.
Is there any way I could convince you this is of the utmost importance?
Mr. Miles Edgeworth, Granny says she'll testify. So please try to finish this quickly. If we don't return soon, there will be people in terrible suffering.
And yet you were lollygagging on about the viewing platform earlier. I promise, this won't take very long at all. Only if she tells me the truth, of course.
There are no mistakes in Granny's autopsy reports. I've been working with corpses longer than you've been alive. There's no way I'd make a mistake in writing the autopsy report. Ouch. I've got nothing to gain from falsifying the autopsy report.
I really hope the ouch is included in her testimony.
Is what she says. See, there's nothing strange at all.
Yes, that's right, you know. There's no way she would falsify it, you see.
Under the name of the goddess of law, do you swear that this testimony is the truth? Of course! Granny would never tell a lie.
We were asking Dr. Young. We do not need to hear from a third party.
I'm not a third party. I'm on Granny's side. If you raise an objection to my testimony, you'd best prepare yourself, you ex-prosecutor.
I will definitely expose the contradiction in this autopsy report.
I feel like you just present it on the first line, right?
I mean, that's too hasty. Nice. Edgeworth, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Stop reading that line.
Should I buy you a fidget spinner?
Not in the game from falsifying the autopsy report. Look how sad she looks.
She's just looking that way.
It's like, no, I'll catch it this time, I promise. Does she have anything to gain from falsifying the autopsy report?
I mean... Wait.
Blackmail.
Wait. Giga Brain.
Yeah, brain blast.
You know how they were talking about the thunk of the gavel? What if instead it was the thunk of the doctor
Hitting her head.
Yeah.
That would be funny, but I don't understand what that would have to do with anything.
Like she was there.
But why?
Fuck if I know. I don't think that's true necessarily, but it would be really funny, Ross. I mean, you gotta try presenting the autopsy report.
Does she, like,
Because...
refute anything?
What do you mean?
Okay. So we have to refute one of these with this.
Yeah.
So is
I
it
think
this one or the first one?
Sometimes they make multiple work. I think both would work if either do. Okay, so it's not that.
Dr. Young, your testimony is wrong.
Granny's pretty old, so you should treat her more nicely. Ouch. Don't treat me like I'm old. I'm not so senile that I would be tricked by a bluff like that.
That wasn't a bluff.
Granny is a lively one, isn't she?
Although I feel like she's a bit too lively. Let's see if we can quiet her down.
Mr. Edgeworth, please be nice to the elderly, okay?
The victim wore this raincoat after suffering a blow to the head, and yet there was not a single drop of blood on the front of the raincoat. Therefore, it's impossible for the head wound to have been post-mortem.
Well, that's... ouch. I don't need you to tell me that. That's what I wrote down from the very beginning.
The autopsy report says the head wound was post-mortem. That's completely different.
Yeah. I relayed to Karen what to put down in the autopsy report. After that, it was none of my beeswax.
Relayed to Karen. Please elaborate on that. She didn't elaborate on that at all.
Press that again.
I would like to verify once again what you saw when you examined the body.
Like we said, ouch. Ooh, well, about that. She was done in by a thump to her noggin. Dr. Young, do you know when that happened? Before she died, of course. The wounds on her chest were post-mortem. That's what I relayed to Karen, so that's what should have been written in the report.
That's what you relayed to her, huh? I'm finally beginning to see the truth. I mean, it's just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But, oh no, that is, okay.
The music, like, didn't stop there properly.
Yeah.
Dr. Young, please confirm what your autopsy report says with your own eyes.
I'll read it out for you. Ouch. This autopsy report wasn't written by me.
What? What do you mean?
I don't know.
This is just a fucking stew jack.
Flopstick. Yeah. But Granny, I can't say that.
Please stop
Miss
beating the shit out of each other.
Jensen, if you were trying to keep the truth in the dark, then, in place of the goddess of law, I shall hear your confession.
Judge Courtney's talking with Dr. Young in private.
What? Is that true?
Courtney gets bonked on the head. Ow.
Ouch. Understood. I shall convey your words to everyone else, Dr. Young. I properly relayed the autopsy report orally to that child.
What a sentence.
It seems my granddaughter must have mucked it up when she was writing it down. Wow, she mimicked her voice perfectly.
There was no need for her to go that far, though. In other words, the contents of the autopsy report had been falsified. By your hand, Miss Jensen.
Ooh, With that, we've proven that the wound on her head came first, followed by her chest wound.
Yikes.
Miss Jensen, why did you falsify the autopsy report?
Hold on a second. She never said she falsified it, you know. She just made a teeny, weensy, little itty-bitty mistake when she wrote it down. Postmortem and antemortem. Something kind of similar, you know. They're complete opposites. That's the very definition of falsification.
Miss Jensen, why would you lie? Okay, ouch. I want you to tell me too. Why would you do something like that? Eh? Granny, but
Because you falsified the autopsy report Kay fell under suspicion. Tell me why you did it.
I can't say. I just can't say it.
No, I don't want to say it, but I can't say.
You're all a bunch of bullies, you know. Ganging up on this poor girl who loves her grandmother so. She's totally unrelated to this. I think we can forgive her for one teeny mistake.
That won't do.
Aren't you the one with the most to lose as she testifies?
What are you saying? You see, as a former prosecutor, you have to speak up a little more clearly, you know.
Very well. As you wish, I shall answer clearly. Miss Jensen played an essential role in this case.
She was an accomplice.
Miss Jensen falsified the autopsy report in order to assist the true culprit.
Ouch.
This girl's an accomplice? What's your basis for this claim?
It was impossible for a single person to commit this crime in the first place. The crime could not have been committed without at least two people, namely because
The
number of people wouldn't match.
I mean, also, I feel like honestly, like, a lot of these, all of these could be true in one way, but I think it's the number of people for sure.
One person could have changed the report to be fake.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's really the number of people wouldn't match. She jumped in to make it 11 again.
If the conductor was the culprit and one of the auction guests was the victim, it would contradict the witness's testimony that there were 11 people after the incident.
What now? You got a problem with that testimony?
Not at all. Rather, it's because I believe your testimony. That's why an accomplice must exist.
So you still won't admit that your reasoning's wrong?
Up until now, we'd not even considered the possibility of an accomplice. However, if there had been an accomplice, it changes the entire story completely. Again.
The end is never the end, is never the...
It's never the end, it's never the end. The accomplice took the murderer's auction. If the accomplice took the murdered auction guest's place, then the number of people remains 11.
Oh, I see now. So that's what you were thinking. But you know, wouldn't that have been quickly discovered?
Miss Jensen and the victim have similar physiques. If she wore the victim's mask, she could have easily taken her place. Miss Jensen, did you switch places with the victim?
I wouldn't.
Who was the conductor? In other words, tell me who was the true culprit.
I can't. I mean, that would also cause trouble for Granny. Ouch. But, Granny, I will accept whatever wrongs you may have done. Just tell me everything. Granny. Oh my god.
As I thought, it appears you really were the accomplice.
Miss Jensen, why? Miss Jensen, would you please tell us? Yes, sorry, I just had to fix her hair. It's okay, Granny. I'm fine now. I switched places with the victim, Miss Crane.
So you admit to being the conductor's accomplice.
Yes, I helped out the conductor. I don't really know why, but for some reason, the conductor was expecting to be attacked by Miss Crane.
The conductor expected to be attacked by the victim.
They were so sure it was going to happen that they came up with a plan to counter it. A way to beat the victim at her own game, and that's when I was called in. I was told to wait in the storeroom before the auction began.
Whoa there, you ain't fooling my eyes. If you're waiting in the storeroom, I reckon I would have bumped into you. After all, I've been up in that storeroom the entire auction.
I'm telling the truth.
I wonder about that, you know. Can we really believe a girl would falsify a report? There should have been many places to hide in that storeroom. Then by all means, tell me. Where'd the little nurse hide?
The fucking box.
Yep.
The fucking Dio coffin.
She's a zombie. She hid inside this costume trunk. Not costume trunk, huh? Ah, now that you mention it, that box was already there before I snuck in. Figured I would hide in there myself, but it was wrapped up nice and tight with a chain. And it was locked too, so I had to give up on that. I suspect that when you snuck into the room, Miss Jensen was already inside the trunk.
Yes, it would have been bad if one of the guests from the auction had opened the lid. After instructing me to hide inside, the conductor wrapped a chain around the costume trunk. I think they went downstairs using the lift shortly thereafter. It was right before the auction... Oh, it was right before the auction.
So then when the auction began, only you and Miss Hart were in the storeroom.
Yes, that should be right.
The auction had been going on as usual. When a certain participant made the winning bid, the conductor committed the crime. Miss Hart must have heard the altercation that occurred then. You betcha, I was trembling behind that statue the whole time, though. Following the altercation, Jill Crane was murdered. After killing Jill Crane, the conductor carried her body to the costume trunk. And Miss Jensen, who'd been hiding in the trunk, was made to take Miss Crane's place. The victim's body was placed inside the costume trunk. The conductor then took Miss Jensen, who had been made to look like Jill Crane, and returned to the auction hall as if nothing had happened. Was this roughly what happened in the storeroom during the incident?
Yes, that's right.
Pulling the old switcheroo with one of those auction guests. Ain't that impossible? That gal and the murder victim are two completely different people, you know. Do you reckon one of the other participants would have noticed and caused a ruckus? No, not at all. The reason they didn't notice the switch was because the voice changers. And also she stole the victim's clothes, I guess.
Yeah, the clothes, yeah.
From what I can tell, Miss Jensen and the victim appeared to have a similar physique. Furthermore, there was a rule requiring a mask to be worn during the auction. If their clothes were the same, I doubt anyone would have noticed she was any different.
Yes, I blended right in. I borrowed Miss Crane's clothes and ouch! You mustn't embarrass the dead like that. I know. I also thought it was pretty heartless to leave her exposed like that. So when the conductor wasn't looking, I covered her up in the raincoat that was up for auction.
So she was the one who put the red raincoat on the victim? And then the auction resumed, as if nothing had happened. I reckon I took a picture of her in the red raincoat after that. I make all the facts line up. After I took the photo, I went over to the lift to sneak a peek down below.
So he knocked her out. She didn't die. She got out of the coffin, climbed up the ladder, saw Kay, and then Blaze came out or whoever and fucking killed her.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot.
After I took the photo, I went over to the lift and snuck a peek down below. I witnessed the 11 participants. Then I hightailed it back to the statue.
Don't tell me. You were hiding there the entire time until we found you?
Nah, that's, how should I put it?
Huh? What is it? Did something happen?
I didn't mention it before, but after then, I dozed off a little. To be more precise, I fainted? Well, something like that.
So something did happen.
It ain't no big deal. Kind of embarrassing to say, though. There was this huge thump sound all of a sudden. I was a little surprised by that. It was right after I just witnessed a murder, so I was shaking my boots. My heart sort of, tightened up, and I was off to La La Land. When I woke up, it was already the next day, around the time y'all came by to the storeroom.
I see. So there was a large sound. Miss Hart, I take it you do not know what transpired in the storeroom beyond that point?
I guess, but after the auction, all the masks were properly returned. Several good participants had exited through the storeroom just like I'd done said.
Miss Jensen, what reaction after the auction resumed?
I took the victim's place and participated in the auction. The conductor instructed me to win the bid for the costume trunk, because the body was inside it. It would have been bad if another auction guest won the bid for it.
Hey, awesome, this one has a body in it. You didn't realize the box was empty?
No, we only found out when I came up to the storeroom to pay the bill. The conductor was with me and told me to go search for her immediately. And then, I found another girl collapsed in front of the ladder.
Kay.
Yes, she probably fell down from the roof and lost consciousness.
Maybe the victim left the hatch open when she went up to the rooftop.
I understand now. Kay was surprised at seeing the collapsed victim and did not notice the open hatch. She must have missed her footing and fell down into the storeroom. So you were right about that part. She didn't fall off the building, she just fell down, into the storeroom. Miss Hart, I've determined that sound you made that made you faint. It was likely the sound of Kay falling onto the storeroom floor.
That might have been it, though I reckon that'd be kind of pathetic to faint over something like that.
Miss Jensen found the unconscious Kay. Miss Hart was also unconscious behind the statue. The situation is becoming clearer to me. Miss Jensen, please continue your story.
After I found Kay and the victim, I put them both in the trunk. If the customers at the auction found out, there would have been a huge commotion.
Was this an order from the conductor as well?
Yes, it was. But, since I secretly decided to put the raincoat on Miss Crane, I had to dispose of the raincoat without the conductor noticing.
Huh. So the conductor didn't anticipate the raincoat becoming another piece of evidence.
And, finally, we dressed Miss Crane in a spare conductor's outfit.
I see. In doing so, you made the victim appear as if she was the conductor herself.
In the end, the auction ended without anyone noticing anything.
Miss Jensen, your crimes have become clear. If you know anything else, please hold nothing back.
I want to help you more, but that is all I know. If I had to say, there is just one thing that bothers me. When I took Miss Crane's place, I borrowed her clothes. But there was no way for me to borrow her hair. Ouch. What kind of coroner's assistant goes around stealing a corpse's hair?
I would think that robbing the deceased of their clothes would be questionable enough.
Both the color and the length of our hair is different, so I was worried about how to disguise it. However, the conductor even had a wig prepared for me. In fact, he had two of them. Inside the costume trunk, there was both a straight wig and a wavy wig.
2 wigs? Why were there 2?
Who knows? Maybe it was a precaution in case the victim had changed her hairstyle. I ended up using the straight wig to match Miss Crane's hair.
So that means that the wavy wig was left in use.
Is that what, like, Blaze is wearing now?
This dude is 68 years old.
Oh my god.
I mean, we should have given him an
One
extra
more
year.
year! One more year! One more year!
Yeah. Maybe that's
But
how
yeah.
old Bonnie Young is.
I think that what I'm calling right, by the way, is that Jill Crane
60.
is Sebastian's mom. I think he killed his baby mama.
She would have had to have been real dumb young.
I didn't know she was only 33, but it is still possible. It would be
It's
fucked up.
very possible, yeah. I mean, they have the same hairstyle. Or, well, hair color. Kind of, ish. It's close.
It's possible the birthdays line up that make it, like, not as fucked up.
33 minus 17 is
It's
17.
16.
Oh, yeah, 16. Yeah. It's creeper either way. It's Japan, though. So, Japanifornia, yay. I think in that case, if that was the case, that he also mentioned that it's really fucked up. Because regardless of how old she is, this dude would have had to been, like, fucking 51?
Yeah, no, super fucked.
Is that really all you know?
Yes. Yep, that's really all I know.
Does that mean you don't know who the conductor is?
I'm sorry. I only knew that person as the auction conductor. I never saw that person without a mask on. The conductor seemed to be on guard towards everybody.
At this rate. Edgeworth, is that all you got? Even if that little nurse is an accomplice, it changes absolutely nothing, you know. In the end, the true culprit's still Kay Faraday. All I did was add another criminal, you know. I think they literally confirmed that it wasn't Kay because she just explained why it wasn't Kay.
Yeah.
The rule of law cannot be overturned, at least not for your sake.
Oh, I just overturned it. God damn it.
Is that as far as I go? Am I unable to save Kay? Oh, hi. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Worth it. You know.
Franny, why are you here?
Didn't I tell you, Miles Edgeworth? Wherever there is a case, I will follow, except for all those other times.
Especially
Prosecutor
after
Von
Apollo
Karma.
Justice.
Your hard work is most appreciated. However, don't get the wrong idea.
Mm-hmm.
I only came here to find out the truth behind what happened to Kay Faraday.
Yeah, it's definitely it.
I don't plan on forgiving you for abandoning the prosecutor's path.
Mm-hmm. I dropped the cheese ball. I don't know where it went. I understand.
You should thank your former subordinate. He gave me some valuable information which may save Kay Faraday.
Detective Gumfuck did.
Only I get to call him that. Listen well, Miles Edgeworth, this will be the final piece of
I
evidence.
thought you called him Scruffy.
Oh, I call him two things. Jill Crane suffered the wound on her head first. Well, someone say something.
Well, I hate to say it, but, we already proved that.
Already proved?
Yeah, well, just a few minutes ago. Ow!
You should have told me sooner.
You're the one who barged in here and started talking.
Well, then, does that mean you found out what the murder weapon was already?
No, not yet.
Is that so? In that case, listen well. The victim was struck on the head with a blunt cylindrical object.
Cylindrical, huh? Well, that's not cylindrical. It looks like a star.
The wound on her chest was suffered post-mortem.
A cylindrical murder weapon? You know, this report of yours, I trust it's accurate, of course.
These were the results of 2 independent autopsies carried out by 2 respected doctors.
No, that's reassuring. But it's too bad. You have no right to investigate this case.
Interpol is after the black market auctions, and I'm the prosecutor in charge of the investigations. The victim participated in the auction. Therefore, it is only natural for me to investigate. Especially now that she's been murdered.
I see. Well, clever little girl, Miss Von Karma.
Never speak to me again. Then it has been settled. The victim died from blunt force trauma to the head.
Never speak to me or my child ever again.
Who's your child?
Von Karma's like, no, stop. You have a mark on your forehead. No, stop, Mom, stop.
Unfortunately, the murder weapon is yet to be found.
Just knowing the shape of the murder weapon gives me an idea as to what it might be. Hey, in my investigation, we didn't find any other murder weapons, you know. If you consider the conductor's possessions in the crime scene, the answer should be clear. The blunt cylindrical object used in the auction hall was...
An
auction
auction
gavel.
gavel.
Yeah. Judge Courtney's gavel. The fuck it was!
Overruled! Yeah.
It was something the conductor had in their hand during the auction. Namely, an auction gavel. An auction gavel? They didn't find anything like that.
If the culprit is the conductor, it is possible that the gavel may be the murder weapon. However, that alone is not reason enough, wouldn't you agree?
Of course. I have proof to back it up. This piece of evidence proves that the murder weapon is the auction gavel.
We have evidence. It's Lada's testimony.
Yeah. Has it updated that much?
Yep.
Yeah. According to Miss Hart's testimony after the victim had been murdered, it seems she suddenly stopped hearing the sound of the gavel during the auction. However, she was able to hear it up until then. Why was that, you ask? It was because it had been used as the murder weapon and was covered in the victim's blood. It became necessary to dispose of it, isn't that right? Blaze the best!
I'll have a search for the murder weapon performed immediately.
Well, good luck with that, you know. You gotta work as hard as you can while you're young, you see.
He is completely confident we won't find it.
Well then, while the search for the murder weapon continues, I hereby call for a brief recess. Let's all go frolic on the swing set. Alright, I think that's a good place to leave off for the night, yeah?
Yeah, and by frolic, I just mean me. And Von Karma.
Well, yeah, well, I was gonna say that, but then I was like, wait a second, how old is Courtney?
Not that much older, I don't think.
That'll be the first thing we check. Right now.
Yeah. These judges in the background are doing absolutely fucking nothing. They're just watching all this like, what the hell's going on? Anyway, she's 26 and...
26 to 18, 19 even. Okay, I mean, that's a little, like...
It's a bit of a gap.
But Franny's old, a little mature for her age, I think.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gap. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think
maybe
I'll
it was
stick
like
to
25 and 19 to be like closer.
I think I'll stick to Fran Maya and whatever Fradrian. But
yeah, I think Adrian's
like
actually older.
Yeah, she's not. I think
she's like 22.
Yeah, something like 23, 24.
Here, we'll just put Emma Skye and her together, and it'll work.
I actually have seen like a shit ton of art shipping Emma Skye with Kay Faraday.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
See, but here's the actual pairing: Lotta Hart and Justine.
And Raymond Shields.
I mean, they're 1 year apart.
Oh, and Justine.
Yeah. And Sebastian and Kay.
No, they can't date because they're gonna join Trucy as Edgeworth's adopted children, obviously.
Yeah. Karen
yeah.
Jensen and no.
Justine Courtney and me. There we go.
There you go. You're 23 now?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Yeah.
That said, if that, I think that, I don't know, I feel like I have like a, I feel like I would date people that are only like a year or two younger than me, and then I would date people who are like a lot older than me. Like Kiera, she's 31.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, all right.
Bianca was just like, 24, good enough.
Yeah.
Just slide her across the room. Kara's like, what's happening? No, wait.
No, wait, the DM said that's not allowed. Wait, no. You you cucked Lilith hard. Anyways, I think that's the end of the session.
I didn't realize Lilith was also way younger, too. I thought
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
like 30 something.
She's older than Bianca, I think, but
26, I think.
yeah.
That's fine. Lilith now has Eleanor.
Yeah.
Also, this guy has, like, so much riz, like, sitting behind that table. Like, look at him on that fucking golden throne of his. Arms crossed. Tears
I think this is the first time in
gliding
human
down.
history that any like person who played this game referred to Blaze to Best as having Riz. That is a new sentence.
I mean, if you don't make a new sentence every day, what are you doing?
I guess his son Sebastian inherited a lot of that Riz.
Holy shit, he has so much. He's like supernova.
The thing is, like, we joke, but like he would do numbers with like the crowd that like want a fail husband.
I mean, if he was like 10 years older, I would like the best. He seems like a good guy.
There you go.
I mean, he's
go.
nice. He's not like rude. He's just a little bit full of himself, but like he still thanks people. He's still friendly. He likes
Yeah.
justice. He'd be full of stories. He's like your own personal Kevin.
Kevin?
Yeah, it's like the name for people who have a lot of stupid stories.
I've
Tied to
never heard of this before.
r/tales about Kevin.
All right.
I heard a really good one recently where a guy ate an entire block of cocaine, like an 8-ball of it, and then went running into the sewer where he fought an alligator.
That's fucked up.
I don't know if any of that was true, but I do know he ate the block of cocaine was true. He did that because he got pulled over. And in order to fool the police officer, he ate it.
That's a big day.
Just Sebastian's face like, I would eat an 8-ball of cocaine.